Welcome to the Unsolved Spectrum. Today, we look into a case that intertwines the bonds of friendship, the enigma of human behavior, and the shadowy realm of the unknown. We delve into the disappearance of Brian Shaffer, a 27-year-old medical student whose sudden vanishing in 2006 left a trail of questions and a legacy of mystery. Imagine a young man at the threshold of his future, a future brimming with promise and aspirations. Brian Randall Shaffer, born in the quiet suburban backdrop of Pickerington, Ohio, was the epitome of such a figure. The eldest of Randy and Renee Shaffer's two sons, Brian was not just another face in the crowd. His intelligence was apparent, his ambition palpable. A high school graduate of 1997, his footsteps led him to the esteemed halls of Ohio State University. There, in the bustling heart of Columbus, Brian's journey was not just academic, but also deeply personal. He pursued an undergraduate degree in microbiology, a field demanding precision and dedication. Yet, beneath the surface of this studious exterior lay a soul yearning for the rhythm and freedom of music. Brian's love for bands like Pearl Jam wasn't just a fleeting fancy. It was a passion so strong that it found a permanent place on his skin in the form of a tattoo. This duality of science and art painted the picture of a young man at a crossroads, balancing his pragmatic choices with his artistic dreams. The corridors of the Ohio State University College of Medicine became Brian's new world in 2004. Here, amidst the rigorous demands of medical education, Brian's life was struck by a heart-rending tragedy, the untimely demise of his mother to myelodysplasia. This loss cast a long shadow over Brian, testing his resilience. However, amidst this period of grief and adjustment, a new chapter began in Brian's life. It was during these challenging times in medical school that Brian met Alexis Wagoner, a fellow medical student. Their connection was instant and profound. Alexis and Brian, both navigating the rigors of medical training, found in each other a shared understanding, a mutual support system. Their relationship blossomed, weaving dreams of a shared future. The year 2006 held special significance for Brian. It marked not just his progression in medical school, but also a turning point in his personal life. Rumors among friends and family hinted at a potential marriage proposal to Alexis, possibly during a spring break trip to Miami. This trip was not just a getaway, it represented a beacon of hope, a chance for Brian to momentarily escape the academic pressure and bask in the tropical allure he so admired, a chance to celebrate love, life, and new beginnings. On the evening of March 31st, 2006, a seemingly mundane event unfolded, a dinner between father and son. Yet this was no ordinary dinner. It was a celebration of sorts, marking the end of midterms and the onset of spring break. Brian and his father, Randy, chose a steak dinner, a simple yet significant way to commemorate this moment. As they sat across from each other, Randy couldn't help but notice the signs of exhaustion etched on his son's face. The toll of sleepless nights spent studying was apparent. Brian's commitment to his studies often meant sacrificing rest, a testament to his dedication. Randy, a father's concern simmering beneath the surface, contemplated advising Brian against going out that night. Yet he chose silence, respecting his son's choices. Unbeknownst to them, this meal, filled with casual conversation and shared laughter, would become a memory etched in time, the last meal they would ever share. As they parted ways that evening, neither father nor son could have fathomed the twist of fate that lay just hours ahead. The city of Columbus, alive with the vibrant energy of college life, was the backdrop for the next chapter of that fateful night. Brian, joined by his friend William Clint Florence, embarked on a night that promised leisure and liberation from the confines of academia. Their destination was the Ugly Tuna Saloona, a popular bar known for its lively atmosphere and throngs of college students seeking a respite from their studies. It was here, in the heart of the South Campus Gateway complex, that Brian's evening began. The Ugly Tuna, with its pulsating music and thrum of conversation, was the perfect setting for a night of unwinding. Brian and Clint, reveling in the freedom of spring break, immersed themselves in the camaraderie and cheer that only such a setting could provide. As the night progressed, the duo, fueled by the energy of the night, decided to expand their horizons, venturing out into the wider expanse of Columbus's nightlife. The evening transformed into a journey of bar hopping, a common pursuit among college students celebrating the end of rigorous academic rigors. Each venue offered its unique ambience, with Brian and Clint sampling the diverse offerings of Columbus's bar scene. Little did they know that each step, each choice, was leading them closer to an unfathomable mystery. As the clock inched towards the witching hour, Brian and Clint, along with Meredith Reed, a friend they had met up with, decided to return to where their night began, the Ugly Tuna Saloona, to see a band play. The atmosphere inside the bar was electric, buzzing with the energy of youth and freedom. The trio rode the escalator up to the bar's second-story entrance, stepping into a world pulsating with music and laughter. Here, amidst the sea of faces, the realities of everyday life seemed distant, irrelevant. Brian, for a few fleeting hours, lived out his dream of being one of the guys, reveling in the music he so loved. The night wore on, and the bar, packed to the brim, became a maze of bodies moving in rhythm to the beat. In this crowded space, it was easy to lose track of time, easy to lose oneself in the moment. As the night drew to a close, Clint and Meredith found themselves separated from Brian in the throng. Calls to his phone went unanswered, echoing into the void of the night. Their concern, however, was tempered by the belief that Brian, a responsible adult, had perhaps chosen to end his night elsewhere, possibly meeting up with another friend. The decision to leave without him was made with the assumption that their paths would cross again soon. But as dawn broke and the sun cast its first light on the streets of Columbus, Brian Shaffer remained a spectral figure, his whereabouts shrouded in mystery. The following days were a whirlwind of confusion and growing dread. Brian's absence became increasingly alarming as he missed his flight to Miami, a trip he had eagerly anticipated. His apartment lay undisturbed, his car parked exactly where he had left it. Brian's brother Derek, driven by a mix of hope and fear, entered the apartment only to find Alexis, equally bewildered and anxious. The apartment, usually a haven of refuge and normalcy, now stood as a silent testament to the burgeoning mystery. Friends and family were gripped by a sense of unease. Brian's uncharacteristic silence was out of place in the fabric of his otherwise predictable and responsible life. His father, Randy, made incessant calls, each unanswered ring amplifying the concern. The realization that Brian had not made any contact over the weekend was unsettling. His disappearance was not just unusual, it was unprecedented. The vibrant, ambitious medical student, known for his commitment and reliability, had vanished without a trace, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions and unspoken fears. The ensuing police investigation opened a Pandora's box of theories and speculations. The Ugly Tuna Saloona, the last place Brian was seen, presented a conundrum. With only two exits, one being the main door, and the other a back exit leading to a perilous construction site, Brian's disappearance bordered on the inexplicable. Security footage scrutinized by the authorities offered no clues to his exit from the bar. It was as if Brian had simply vanished into thin air. Theories began to circulate, each trying to piece together the puzzle of Brian's last known moments. Some pointed to the possibility of foul play within the bar's walls, a sinister turn of events in an otherwise safe environment. Others speculated about an unnoticed escape route, a secret passage through which Brian could have slipped away unnoticed. The spotlight of suspicion briefly fell on Clint, Brian's friend and confidant, whose refusal to take a polygraph test raised eyebrows and questions. The theory of the smiley face killer, a speculated serial predator targeting young men, added a chilling dimension to the mystery. Yet another theory posited that Brian, overwhelmed by the loss of his mother and the pressures of medical school, might have chosen to start anew, leaving behind his old life for a fresh start. Then there was the possibility of an accidental, unnoticed tragedy occurring that night. Each theory wove its own narrative, yet none could conclusively pierce the veil of uncertainty that shrouded Brian's disappearance. In the wake of Brian's disappearance, his family, friends, and especially Alexis were engulfed in a maelstrom of emotions. Alexis, who once dreamt of a future with Brian, was now haunted by his absence. Her days were consumed by efforts to find him, each unanswered call deepening the void left by his sudden vanishing. The hopeful plans for their trip to Miami, once a symbol of relaxation and celebration, became a poignant reminder of what was lost. In her heart, the possibility of Brian's proposal lingered, an unfulfilled promise that turned into a source of endless pain and speculation. Brian's family grappled with the harsh reality of his absence, oscillating between hope and despair. His father, Randy, tirelessly reached out, hoping against hope for a sign, a word from his son. The silence that greeted him was a relentless echo of uncertainty. Brian's brother Derek faced the daunting task of keeping his brother's name alive, clinging to the faint hope of a resolution. The family's anguish was compounded by the swirl of rumors and theories, each more baffling than the last. The thought that Brian's disappearance could have been orchestrated by someone close, possibly even his best friend Clint, added a layer of betrayal and confusion to their grief. The investigation into Brian's disappearance was a labyrinthine journey through the streets of Columbus and the corridors of the Ugly Tuna Saloona. Detectives pieced together his last known movements, examining every frame of security footage, hoping for a breakthrough. The community rallied around the Shaffer family, with volunteers distributing flyers and scouring the city for any trace of Brian. The case captured the public's imagination, spawning online forums and discussions as armchair detectives offered their theories. Brian's father, driven by a desperate need for answers, established a website, inviting anonymous tips. The site became a beacon for the distraught family, a digital gathering place for those who wanted to help. However, this well-intentioned effort also attracted bizarre and unfounded claims, adding to the family's distress. Amidst this turmoil, one peculiar incident stood out, a brief glimmer of hope in September 2006 when Alexis called Brian's phone and unexpectedly it rang. This anomaly, later attributed to a possible computer glitch, briefly reignited the hope that Brian might still be alive. However, the lack of any digital or financial trail left by Brian only deepened the enigma. His credit cards, bank accounts, and phone records remained untouched, painting the picture of a man who had seemingly vanished from the face of the earth. As the investigation progressed, the theories surrounding Brian's disappearance multiplied. Each hypothesis attempted to make sense of the inexplicable. How could a young man in the prime of his life disappear without a trace from a crowded bar? One theory suggested that Brian, exhausted from his academic endeavors and possibly disoriented by alcohol, accidentally ventured into the dangerous construction site behind the bar and met an untimely end. However, this idea was met with skepticism. as there was no evidence to support the notion of Brian navigating the hazardous area unnoticed. Another disturbing theory linked Brian's case to the Smiley Face Killers, an alleged group responsible for the deaths of multiple young men across the country. Yet, the lack of a body and the absence of the killer's signature smiley face graffiti near the site weakened this hypothesis. Some speculated that Brian, perhaps in a state of emotional turmoil, chose to disappear voluntarily, leaving behind his life and identity. This theory, while plausible to some, raised questions about Brian's preparedness for such a drastic action, given his lack of resources and the suddenness of his disappearance. The possibility of foul play, a scenario involving an unknown assailant or a tragic encounter, remained a haunting consideration. Each theory, while offering potential explanations, also underscored the profound complexity and mystery of Brian's disappearance. As we reflect on Brian's case, the spectrum of theories, from the sinister to the sorrowful, remains a topic of speculation and debate. The possibility of foul play, a secret exit, an accidental misstep, or a deliberate disappearance are all pieces of a puzzle that refuses to be solved. Investigators continue to sift through clues, however sparse, clinging to the hope that a breakthrough might still be possible. The case of Brian Shaffer, much like the man himself, has become a tapestry woven with threads of mystery, sorrow, and the unyielding quest for truth. In the realm of unsolved mysteries, Brian Shaffer's disappearance stands as a poignant reminder of the fragility of life and the enduring power of hope. It's a story that resonates with the fear of the unknown, the pain of loss, and the human desire for closure. If you, or anyone you know, has any information, no matter how insignificant it may seem, we urge you to come forward. Your voice could be the key to unlocking this enduring mystery. This has been the Unsolved Spectrum. If you have any information about the disappearance of Brian Shaffer, please contact the Columbus Police Department. What do you think could have happened to Brian? Comment down below and let us know.